be me.
My name is Lucian Obizet, studying architecture, and my scheme is about maybe the culture of music. I try to bring a place where people come together and whether it be learn a musical instrument or go through the whole cycle, which is learning the musical instrument, learning how the production of these instruments are, and then being able to perform. So it's like a cycle, reaching a goal per se. And it's the reason why I chose this is it's kind of a way to bring diverse cultures together, as music was one of those factors that everyone has in common. So I thought, why not provide an area or a space where this can be achieved. My site is based in Woolwich, on Powis Street. It used to be the former cooperative building. It's quite a big site. It's like a 6th floor site, and I thought, Woolwich being an up and coming area, then why not set the scene there. In 5 years' time, I would hope I would be a year after finishing my part 2, so I'd like to be comfortable and I can practice. So yeah, fingers crossed.
Hi, I'm Millie. I'm on the architecture course. I've chosen to place my scheme in Bethnal Green, which was once the heart of the silk and textiles industry in the United Kingdom and London. So I'm kind of reviving that, but putting a new twist on it by combining luxury materials such as silk and interweaving them with waste textiles and kind of challenging a preconception and a global issue as domestic waste, and kind of addressing issues, everyday issues that people are facing in preconceptions and what people would generally class as being a luxury item. Where do I see myself in 5 years' time? I definitely want to carry on studying. I'd love to go on and study a master's in architecture. I'd like to travel a lot. I'd love to go to Asia, Tokyo, China, and work in a variety of practices. To be honest, I don't know, I could be anywhere in 5 years' time. What inspired me with my scheme was kind of the idea of taking industrial processes and manufacturing and exposing them to the public and giving them a public frontage by selecting like key points and glimpses and kind of dramatising them and making them theatrical and making them interesting to viewers and consumers. I've decided to introduce a mulberry garden onto the roof of my building, and that's kind of, it's a symbolic gesture to the history and the silk gardens and the mulberry gardens that once existed in Bethnal Green, but also a functional idea that I would actually be able to produce silk on the roof of this building, quite a large quantity, I think, to use in the production and in these cycles that happen in the building. The idea with the roof is that it's much more organic and natural, contrasting the inside, which is mechanical and heavy and industrial processes.
Okay, my name's Tom. My scheme's in Hackney Wick, the Fish Islands. It's located at Dace Road, opposite the Olympic Park. My scheme is about a project which is exploiting traditions and pop culture within Freemasonry and men's tailoring. It's looking at how a secret society promotes itself within the public realm. Maybe it uses its traditions of costumes and craftsmanship to pull in new young recruits and at the same time generate a forgotten area. Well, what inspired me about this project was my dissertation looking at private and public realm and how private investors are buying a lot of land within London and just generating a lot of money from it and kind of forgetting the aspect or the kind of culture that's already existing on the site. So choosing a very controversial private investor such as Freemasonry is just an interesting way of looking at how quite a new, young and thriving area such as Hackney Wick and the Fish Islands can be generated, both with intentions of a business, but in both intentions of a culture as well. I see myself in 5 years, hopefully being in practice for maybe about 2 or 3, and then going straight back into study and trying to get part 2, wherever that will be. Yeah, throughout the kind of research and development process, the Freemasonry idea kind of was frowned upon, but did kind of pursue it all the way through to the end. Happy I have done, because it's kind of brought a richness to the project which I feel kind of poetically comes into the site and into the building scheme itself.
Speed of life, we are flying. I get a rush from death defying. Feel this way. Superhuman, superhuman. You made me feel it beyond believing. Superhuman, superhuman. Heartbeat increasing, 'cause I'm of the age falling through. But I am invincible with you. Superhuman, we are superhuman. Feeling the past moving, letting a new day begin. Hold to the time that you know.
I spent a lot of time in art schools in my career, and if they're doing their job properly, they all will teach you how to look at the world differently and respond to that world. Ravensbourne is slightly different because it is itself experimental. It is trying to work out how it fits into our modern world and is trying to mould the traditions of art school in a way to respond to that modern world. So the students are bright, energetic people who live in the modern world. I kind of feel like my time in the modern world is gone, but I can hang on to it by talking to the students here. They're receptive, they're energetic, they're exciting, and they will be the future. I think that Ravensbourne is dealing in the future, and I'm very happy to support it.
You don't have to move on or let go. Add to the memory you keep. Remember when you fall asleep.
and I'm the course leader for Interior Design and Environmental Architectures and Architecture here at Ravensbourne. And Ravensbourne's sort of got a reputation for being industry facing, and students here seem to get work placements and also to engage with industry in a way that other students seem not to. I think this year has been really interesting because as we've grown in size, we've seen an even greater variety of work produced. And that's really meant that we as tutors have also grown, looking at different sorts of, I suppose, concepts and also the ways in which new materiality and construction can impact on the built environment.
My name is Alan Phillips. I'm Professor of Architecture at Ravensbourne and a visiting critic and visiting fellow at Bath University, but principally an architect in practice, carrying out lots of medium-sized and small projects from an office in Brighton. The course of Architecture and Interior Design at Ravensbourne is a very interesting one because it seems to be more vocational than, for instance, the course I teach at Bath, which is more academic. And I like the vocational, intuitive, creative, artistic courses. I think that the students are freer to express themselves and do so in what you might call an architectural liberal way. It's following an intuition about architectural intelligence rather than following, if you like, the pragmatism of architectural intelligence. So it's very refreshing to come to Ravensbourne. I think I prefer it than anywhere else.
Architecture and Ideas course attracts a wider spectrum of students from various backgrounds, ages. They all come from various studies they've done, from A-levels to foundation to even actual industry work. They come on to the course to explore the idea of what is architecture and what is interior design and what lies within that in terms of metropolitan, wider life, landscape, the interaction of humans with the buildings and the buildings within the wider environments. They look into the structure, they look into the actual elements within the buildings, from furniture all the way to materiality, experimenting with forms, with color, at the same time with pattern, and at the same time with what is living in there, what is working in there, and what is to play with architecture or within the architecture or within the spaces within the environments. As a designer, coming from various industries, working within the design as well as engineering, branding and industrial design, I personally bring a wider and open mind to the course, where I work with the students on the scales from urban design to interiors, as well as remodeling of existing buildings and structures. We work in groups, we work individually. Students are encouraged to work in groups most of the time in order to broaden their own approach to the building or to the site or to in a specific brief, and work as well as in cross-disciplinary from architecture as well as product design, fashion and graphics, to broaden the knowledge and broaden the approach to a certain brief.
the Architecture and the Ideas course at Ravensbourne are fairly unique as they bring together built environment work that exists and new architecture. They inhabit a territory which is being developed throughout, I suppose, our built form courses, which are about how you make experience and architecture fuse as one. Sometimes with the existing, sometimes with the new, but always with a sense of experiment and an understanding of both the social and the commercial conditions that underpin the environment that we live in and work in. Students here seem to be really successful at making that synergy, having an understanding of where the future of architecture could be. And the experiments they produce have always gained them, I suppose, a certain degree of notoriety because they're controversial. We hope that you'll enjoy the degree show this year and take an open mind to the work that the students produce because you may be living in or with it soon. Welcome to the Ravensbourne Degree Show, Architecture and Ideas.
Staying in shape is important. Here are a couple things that you can do to stay in shape. Now this part's going to work your gluteus and vertebrae muscles. These are extremely important for God knows what.
On constant alert from the constant hurt that seems limitless with no drop of pressure. Seems like everybody's out to test you till they see you break. You can't conceal the hate that consumes you. I'm the reason why you feel up your Sousa. Chill with your old lady at the tilt. I got a 90-day extension and I feel with guilt from things done and seen. The water's from a bottle, mine from a canteen. At night I hear the shot swing, so I'm a light sleeper. Cost of life seems to get cheaper. Out in the desert with a street sweeper. The war is over, so said the speaker with the fight suit on. Maybe to him I'm just a pawn, so he can advance. Remember when they used to dance? Man, all I wanted to do was dance. up and take a bow. There's something there and it's showing. There's no need to look around. You're the best we got going. Shout out to the dreams you'll chase. Shout out to the hearts you'll break. Nothing's gonna stop you now. I guess you better be going. You'll never before, keeping you near. Inside of my heart, you're here. It's gotta be time. You're starting to shine. 'Cause what you got is gold. I know you're gold. I know. I don't need the stars in the night. I found my treasure. All I need is you by my side. So shine forever. I know you're gold. I know you're gold.
Yeah, I find the crits really useful. They can, they help you, and it gets the class to talk to each other. They can be quite laborious, they're really long, so about 8 hours a day. I think with technology, you can make the crits more interactive. So presentational techniques will change with projectors or computers that everyone can have, or and timing kind of thing. So it will be a lot more fun. You get a lot more out of it, and people will participate more.
Just have a small one like that.
Hi, my name is Larissa. I am working currently on the Cultural Centre, or the new headquarters for the foundation called the Culver 22 Foundation, and they're based in Shoreditch at the moment. I'm creating new headquarters for them in Brick Lane, and specifically they want to stay in East London. What inspired me to choose this current user site, considering current geopolitics, especially with the war in Ukraine, which is very close to my heart as well, very close to my country, very related to Russia as well. So if we go back to Russia, Russia's economics, and not just Russia's, also post-Soviet countries, is based more of building and using resources like oil, gas, diamond, gold, whatever. And that is actually quite problematic with stepping off from that and actually trying to build new economy, new future for the country. So what is going to actually diverse this situation? The culture and the art, the architecture, the design. This future question is actually quite difficult. I don't know, to be honest. I want to definitely become an architect legally in the United Kingdom, so I want to do my part 3. Become an architect, call myself an architect as well, have that in business card. Well, the nearest 3 years plan would be, I don't know, try to get work experience, work in some companies, and then maybe probably do masters, and then move on to, again, practice and PhD, who knows?
Remember